All right, let's get into the tier list, the NFL tier list it is for the 2019-2020 season. It's fairly simple. I'm sure all of you know what the hell's going on. Something new, trying out on my channel because I've never done a tier list, and why not for the NFL, right? So this will be for the 2019-2020 NFL season. These ranks will be for the teams I think that are going to do the best, or kind of like as a power ranking sort of deal. Which teams are I think are going to perform well. So I guess the S means kind of Super Bowl caliber teams that can make the Super Bowl. F means likely to go 2-14, 0-16 type of deal. And then C kind of going like an 8-8, maybe like 7-9 sort of area there. But right now, let's just hop right into it. Starting off with the Browns, and again, these are all kind of like my own personal opinions. I didn't do a lot of research. It's not like I'm going super in depth with this. Just kind of like off the how I feel about the teams. I do have some knowledge pulled up about them, so I do know a little bit about each team and how they did in the draft. But other than that, yeah, it's just going to be my own personal opinion. So, starting off with the Browns, I'm going to label them a B tier. I think they could easily have 10 wins, maybe 11. 12 is kind of pushing it, in my opinion. But I could also see them falling down to a D tier just for this year. I think overall, throughout the next couple of years, at least, they'll probably be C, if not B tier. Maybe even A if they can, depending how all the players develop there. But I think they're a solid B tier team this year. They acquired Kareem Hunt, even though he's not going to be playing for I think half the season or more than half the season. That's still a great weapon to have. I mean, you kind of have to think of it like this: he's going to be extremely healthy and refreshed for the late part of the season, and he's an insane running back. So that's going to be kind of scary if you have to face them, especially if you don't have a great running defense. So they're going to be on fire. In combination, you throw Odell Beckham in there, and not to mention the improvements they made on defense. I think they can have a pretty good season. Next up will be the Vikings. The Vikings, I think they're okay. Kirk Cousins, he kind of goes up and down. They've added, Irv Smith Jr. and Alexander Madison. Yeah, I just see them being okay. I can actually see them being a B tier this season. That wouldn't shock me. But I'm just going to label them as C here just because of how inconsistent Kirk Cousins is. But I could easily see them going up to B tier. Titans, same thing. Marcus Mariota, he's not bad. But again, he's not great. He can pop off sometimes, but he can also hold his team back sometimes. The Dolphins, they're not going to be good this year, but I do know that they will have a ton of cap space next year to improve, kind of like how the Colts did this season. So I definitely think that they can be an F. They're probably going to be an F tier this season. Maybe an E tier. Maybe it might get a few more wins. Might surprise a few teams, and they might change things up throughout the year. That might help them or make them worse. But for the most part, I think that they're going to be. I think it's pretty safe to say. I think everyone knows the Dolphins aren't going to be very good this year. The Raiders, the Chiefs fan in me wants to put F, but I do think they'll be a D team, kind of like how they were last year. They weren't very good, and I think they've improved a little bit. Adding who they add? Didn't they add Le'Veon Bell? I'm pretty sure. Or did they? No, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown. Yeah, I think so. I think it's Antonio Brown. So that can help them out a little bit. But again, I mean, it's the Raiders. Derek Carr is going to be Derek Carr. So yeah, Baltimore. Now this does depend how Lamar Jackson does. I believe if he can learn to stay in the pocket and kind of utilize his running as like a last resort, or kind of like not every play he has to rely on him running around. I think he could definitely be in the B tier, and then with their defense, probably even A. I'll give him a C tier for now, but depending on how he plays, I could easily see him going up to the B tier. But for right now, again, season starts. I'm going to assume he's going to play similar to last year, but I guess we'll find out. So the Bucks here, they're kind of all over the place. I think it's safe to say give them an F tier. I'm going to be safe there. Their quarterback situations finicky, and even though they might settle things out before the season, or if they already have, I haven't been following them too closely. I just know it's kind of a shitstorm over there. So yeah, the Bears. I think the Bears will definitely be a B team or B tier team this year. They couldn't get it done last year, but they did show signs of a pretty good defense. So yeah, I think that's a safe spot for them. Safe spot. Bengals. Well, there's the Bengals, so I'll just put them in E. They're not terrible, but I don't think they improved a lot over this offseason. I definitely didn't hear any headlines in their favor. So yeah, Cowboys a D tier again. I mean, I think people. Well, actually, hold up. Let me. I think they did. Didn't they do all right last season? Let me see. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for them. I don't think that they're gonna do too great this season. I mean, they could bump up to a C tier. Wouldn't shock me, but I think having them at that spot is probably the safest bet now. The Texans with Deshaun Watson, I'll put them at a C tier. They weren't too bad last season. They did get kind of handled in the playoffs a little bit, so we'll see how they improve over the off season in practice and everything. But I think it's a definitely good point for them to be in. So they definitely have signs of they could move up to be. I definitely don't think they're a Super Bowl caliber team this year, but they could. Don't think. Actually, I don't think they can. So the Colts are interesting. The Colts were an all right team last season, and they had a ton of cap space, to do stuff with. So I definitely going to put them, since they're not proven yet. I'm going to put them in a B tier. But again, A tier is very likely. They signed Justin Houston. Chiefs let him go in free agency. Justin Houston's good when he's good. He did all right last season. He hasn't been the same since that. I think it was like the 2015 wildcard game, 2016 wildcard game versus the Texans. He had that injury to his knee, and he hasn't been quite the same. But they also signed Spencer Ware. I do know that. And they had a decent draft, so I could definitely see him being A. But again, since we don't know what they are, we kind of just have to assume that they're B for now. But I'll say it's likely they go to A. Rams, I think they take a step down from S tier to A tier. I don't think they'll be quite the same team as they were last year. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, so they re-signed Dante Fowler. They added Clay Matthews, which is a good bonus. Good bonus there. I just don't think they'll be able to keep it up. Probably not to the extent as last season, but we'll see. So the Chargers, up next. I'll put them at A tier or B tier. Actually, I think they can be A tier. A tier. They beat the Chiefs last season. They did lose to the Patriots in the postseason, though. They did beat Baltimore pretty handily, if I remember right. Or did they? I don't even remember. It was kind of a while ago. I think they're pretty much the same team, I believe, if not a little bit better. So that's why I don't want to put them at B tier. I mean, as a Chiefs fan, I like to put them at B tier, but to be completely honest, I think they will be an A tier team. The Chiefs, a lot of people, now I might be a little bit biased here, and say A tier, right? I think most people from the outside looking in will say, "Oh, the Chiefs' defense got worse," because they let go Justin Houston and Dee Ford, new defensive coordinator. I'm gonna put him at S tier just because I have a feeling Tyreek Hill's gonna stay on the team. I'm not saying that he should or that he shouldn't be on the team. I'm not here to say that. I think he just will be, just based on the evidence of the case that we've heard so far that have been leaked and everything. Again, he could leave the team, and even with him leaving the team, I don't think it's too big of a deal. But definitely, I think you do have to bump him down to an A tier if Tyreek Hill leaves the team. But if he stays on the team, I think the defense improved from a 32nd, 31st defense to probably at the best 20th. At the worst, probably around 30. But with Frank Clark, he he fits the 4-3 scheme. The defense coordinator change, although people say, "Oh, he's last with the New York Giants." So this could be his break-in year. Most people are thinking, "Oh, he's going to have a bad year as a defensive coordinator this year and a good year, the following seasons." But I think they are still S tier. I think the offense is still fantastic. Sammy Watkins, I heard, is in great health for once in his life. Chiefs drafted a running back. I don't remember what his name was, but they also acquired Tyrann Mathieu too, and they also picked up a cornerback during the draft. I can't remember his name, but if I remember, he was pretty good. So I'll put them at S tier, and the Saints are basically right up there. I haven't heard too much about them, which is good and bad. It's good because they added Jared Cook, which is a great tight end, and they got Ted Ginn Jr., which I don't really know who that is, so I can't really say if that's good or bad. But I do think that they haven't changed very much. So again, they were one BS call away from going to the Super Bowl. Same with the Chiefs. So I think both those teams still are in the S category. New York Giants, I think you have to put them at the F tier. There's just been too much drama going on with that team. Yeah, it's just a shit show over there in New York with both the Jets and the Giants. So Eagles. Eagles. Again, it's kind of weird because how Foles and everyone else is doing. But of course, I think Foles went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I forgot about that. So Carson Wentz will be the Eagles' quarterback. See, the Eagles are kind of a tricky team to kind of place. They're definitely not a C tier team. Definitely not an A. I think B is probably the perfect fit. They're kind of like that wild card, kind of like the Colts. They can do well or they could do bad. Actually, that's kind of, I think I'd compare them to the Bears. They can do pretty well or they can do pretty bad. So I'll just leave it at that. The Jaguars picking up Nick Foles, I don't think that was that much of an improvement. See, everyone is hyping up their defense last year, saying, "Oh, they're a top tier team." I'm gonna piss some people off and go D tier here. I don't think Nick Foles is that much of an improvement. I just don't trust the Jaguars and their coaching staff to do good things. Blake Bortles. They signed Blake Bortles to what cap contract? I thought they signed him to some sort of contract, which I thought was probably about the dumbest thing ever. So right on par with the Cowboys. I'm gonna throw the Broncos right there too. Last year, I'd say they were an E tier. I think they bump up just because of adding Joe Flacco, and of course they have Drew Lock now. Uh, Obviously, he's probably not going to be playing this season, and from the sounds of it, it doesn't look like Joe Flacco is going to be, you know, that excited to teach or mentor Drew Lock, or at least that's what he's making it out to be. So, their defense, I think their defense improved a little bit. Their offense is still going to struggle a little bit. So, I think that's a good spot for them. The Steelers, I think they're just going to be an average team this year. Definitely on par. Probably actually, I'll throw them in the D tier, to be honest. I honestly like the Baltimore Ravens a little bit more than them. If they were to go head to head right now, I would take Baltimore over Steelers. Browns over both of them. I don't think I've ever said that in my lifetime, or thought I would. So that's crazy. Lions. Yeah, Lions, I'm going to give them an E tier. Not really doing much this year. 49ers to get Garoppolo back, so depending how he gets back on his injury, I'm just going to give him a C tier. Because they weren't bad when they played the Chiefs in the third week when he got injured. Even leading up to those 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks, they played pretty well. I think they were like 1-1. I think they did lose a game to the Vikings, or they might have beat them. I don't remember, but I do know they were pretty high explosively good offensive team. And getting Garoppolo back, I think obviously will probably help them. So I don't think they're a D tier team. I think they definitely are a C tier team. Green Bay Packers here. They got rid of Mike McCarthy. They started doing a little bit better. Still have Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to give them, I think you just have to be safe and give them a C tier. Again, I think like a lot of these teams here in the C tier, I could see them even having, an 8-8 season, or I could see them going like 4-7. So I should have made like a high C or low C. That would actually be probably better. Yeah. Oh well. Panthers. D tier. They're not going to do much this season. Julius Peppers retired. I mean, they signed Bruce Irvin. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs had him, but he wasn't. I don't think he produced a lot last year. Unfortunate for the Redskins. Alex Smith's still down. And I'm pretty sure Arian Foster went down a few days ago as well. So their season didn't have much outlook anyways, but now it's even less. The Falcons, D tier. I don't think they're going to be doing much this season. Again, they could. Well, hold up. I'll bump them up to a C tier. Yeah, I think that's good. Cardinals improve from an F to an E. Bills go from an E to an E. Seahawks. Let's see. Seahawks. They weren't a bad team last year, and I think they improved a little bit. So I'll actually give them a B tier team. I'll have them as a B tier. I think that's a pretty good list, or a tier for them. Let's see. New York Giants, or Jets, excuse me. E tier. And, of course, Patriots. They don't have a defensive coordinator this year. They're using Big B. That's not his nickname. Bill Belichick. I think they're still an S tier. They just re-signed Julian Edelman. And I think their defense improved overall this season. So there you have it. Chiefs, Saints, Patriots, top. Still kind of have like the top three there for the NFC: Saints, Rams, Bears. AFC's got some new faces moving in, like the Browns and the Colts. I think the biggest teams moving down this year, probably the Steelers, I would say. But yeah, that's what I have. And yeah, I think it's a pretty fair list. Again, Chiefs could be A tier depending on how you look at that defense. I personally, knowing the situation pretty well, knowing how bad Bob Sutton was, just at defense in general, I think it's very easy for them to improve that defense, just based off the coordinator alone. And then whenever you throw in better players like Tyrann Mathieu, draft, a cornerback. I can't think of his name right now, but I do believe the improvements they made. Are going to significantly help out this team, or the Chiefs team. And like with the Browns were big movers this offseason, picking up a lot of key personnel. John Dorsey's doing a great job over there so far. And the Colts, going to be scary this year as well. As far as the NFC team, I think a team so if I had to pick a wild card team to possibly make it to the Super Bowl from the C tier or higher, honestly, I'm going to pick my wild card team to make that is probably the 49ers. The 49ers are a pretty good team. And a lot of people are kind of overlooking them because they had a down year last year. I think a lot of people forget that Garoppolo was down and out for 75% of the season. So, and even then, they finished pretty strong. So, I do think that they could be a wild card team to possibly make it into the Super Bowl if things align their way and they stay healthy, which is the key for all these teams. Team for the AFC that I think could probably make it. Part of me wants to say Browns. I just don't think that. I'm gonna say Colts. I think the Colts could probably do it. But Browns are right behind them on their tail. If the Colts can do it, then the Browns probably can too. So that's what I would probably say. But Dolphins definitely is hope on their horizon. Bucks and Giants. I don't even know what the fuck they're doing over there. Redskins still in the injury slump. Cardinals looking a little bit better. Bills definitely looking on the up. Jets and Bengals kind of just chilling. Same thing with the Lions. Raiders looking to get better. I don't think they will. They had like a lot of picks this year in the draft. I believe they had 3 first rounders, and they didn't draft as well as they could. Yeah. So I think that's it. I think that's my list. So there you go. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. If you didn't, fuck you. No, I'm joking. Yeah. Alright, dope. I'm out.